When someone in your family dies, you know exactly what happens next. Someone calls the funeral home. A stranger cleans the body, dresses it, and lays it in a box lined with silk. Flowers get arranged on top. People wear black. A stone gets carved with a name and 2 dates and placed somewhere you can visit it. None of that is instinct. None of that is obvious. A dead body doesn't need flowers. It doesn't need a stone. It doesn't need anything at all. So why do we do it? Most people assume it's just tradition, something we made up a few centuries ago and never questioned. But that's not even close, because the first time someone did this, carried a body somewhere on purpose and left something behind to mark it, wasn't performed by a human being at all. So who buried the first body? And why would they even bother?
In 2013, 2 cave explorers squeezed into a tiny gap in the Rising Star cave system near Johannesburg. The gap was only 18 centimeters wide. That's barely wider than a shoebox. Inside, they found bones. Lots of them. Bones from at least 27 different people. These weren't modern humans. They belonged to a species whose brain was only 1/3 the size of ours, the Homo naledi. These small-brained hominins didn't just leave bodies lying around. Researchers found 2 skeletons buried in shallow pits dug into the cave floor on purpose. And on the walls nearby, someone had carved shapes into the rock, like a marker, like a sign that said, "Someone is buried here." If that's true, it means you don't need a big brain to bury your dead. You just need to care. But not everyone was convinced. A scientist named Paul Pettit studied the graves closely and said something was missing. When people dig a grave on purpose, the edges usually show cut marks, signs of digging. Pettit didn't see that there. He had another idea. Maybe water did it. Slow-moving water dripping through the cave for thousands of years could have washed the bones into those pits all on its own. No shovel, no ritual, just time and water. So which is it? Careful burial or just a trick of nature? Whatever really happened at Rising Star, one thing is certain. Rising Star might be an accident, but this one isn't.
In a cave in Israel called Kafse, archaeologists found the grave of a 12-year-old boy. He was buried around 100,000 years ago. His legs were bent, a heavy stone rested over his lower body, and in his hand, someone had placed the antlers of a deer. Nearby, they found 71 pieces of red powder called ochre. Ochre wasn't food, it wasn't a tool. Its only job was to look like something, to mean something. Now here's the question that keeps historians up at night. Was that antler placed there on purpose? Or did it just end up there by accident, buried in the same dirt? Scientists still argue about that one detail. But here's what they don't argue about. Just a short walk from Kafse, at a cave called School, another body was found with a wild boar's jawbone resting on its chest. And around that skeleton, archaeologists found small shells with holes punched through them, like beads. Those shells came from the Mediterranean coast, 35 kilometers away. Someone walked 35 kilometers carrying shells just to decorate the dead. But it wasn't just our species doing this. In a rock shelter in France called La Ferracie, archaeologists found 8 bodies, not just adults, babies, even 2 unborn babies still inside their mothers, all buried in the same spot across many years.
These bodies belonged to Neanderthals. For a long time, people pictured Neanderthals as dumb, hunched-over cavemen who barely walked upright. But the leg bones found here proved that wrong. Neanderthals walked just like us, straight back, same stride. And here's the strangest clue of all. Scientists studied the front teeth of one skeleton, a man called La Ferracie 1. His teeth were worn down at a strange slant, not from chewing food, from work. Neanderthals used their teeth like a third hand. They'd grip animal hide between their teeth and scrape it with a stone tool over and over to soften it for clothing. That's not the behavior of a brute. That's the behavior of someone solving a problem, the same way we do. And this same group buried their family again and again in the exact same place. But burying one family in one spot is one thing. What happened next changed everything. About 15,000 years ago, in a cave in Morocco called Tafaralt, people stopped just burying their dead in one spot. They built the world's first real cemetery. Archaeologists found up to 40 bodies there, buried over generations in the same shared space. And the rituals were intense. Nearly 90% of the people buried there were missing their 2 front teeth, pulled out on purpose, likely as a painful test to prove you'd become an adult. Some bodies were even dug back up after the flesh had rotted away so their bones could be moved and used again in later ceremonies. But here's the detail that connects all of this. Think about the last funeral you went to. Flowers laid on top of a casket, a special outfit picked out just for the burial, a stone marker left behind so people can visit later. None of that is new. It's not even close to new. The flowers are the ochre. The special outfit is the shell beads. The stone marker is the carving on the cave wall at Rising Star. Every funeral you've ever been to is running on code written 100,000 years ago. We didn't invent grief, we inherited it. 500,000 years ago, in a cave in South Africa, someone may have carved a marker for the dead. 100,000 years ago, in a cave in Israel, a boy was buried with a deer's antlers in his hand. 70,000 years ago, in a rock shelter in France, a family buried their babies together, again and again. 15,000 years ago, in a cave in Morocco, that single grave became a cemetery. So next time you go to a funeral home and someone else picks up the body, cleans it, dresses it, and lays it gently in a box, remember, that gentle handling isn't modern. It isn't new. It's the oldest habit our species ever had. The only question is, who taught it to us first?